Welcome to Leading Our Adventures, your Venturing BSA podcast. Whether this is your first episode or you've been watching since the beginning, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining. I'm your host, Hannah Todd, and I currently serve as the Vice President of Program for the NVOA. We've talked about how to start a crew. Here's the link for it right here in case you would like an in-depth version. It's a great resource that you can use. We have talked about what a CVOA advisor does, and we've talked to a Council Venturing Officers Association president. Now we're going to talk to another CVOA president and their VP who took on a great challenge, which is the subject matter today, starting a council VOA. Now, there is a venturing fun fact of the day. What is the one activity that venturing youth can do that none of the other programs in scouting are allowed to do? Stay tuned to the end to find out and put your guesses down below. I can't wait to see those responses. These two exceptional individuals have extensive experience in the scouting community. They have led their council VOA and are here to share their insights, challenges, and tips on how you can start a exciting and effective Venturing Officers Association in your council. I think that you should all stick around if you're part of a CVOA too for some tips and tricks from these amazing people. Together, here are my new friends, Lora and Vincent, who will be sharing practical advice as they navigated this process. Buckle up, and I'm so excited for you to see this amazing, engaging conversation. Let's dive in. Take it away, Vincent.
Thank you, Hannah. Hello, everyone. I've been in scouting since I was a wolf at 7 years old. I've had many great experiences through my troop, the Order of the Arrow, and summer camp. How I got into venturing is hard to put into words, but I began venturing 2 years ago after I got my Eagle and finished getting all 138 merit badges. I was originally in Crew 201 in Queens, where I earned my first rank and attended a couple outings. I then started the VOA and was elected in March 2023, which is now growing pretty well. Then in July, I was a founding member of Crew 587, which now has over 10 venturers. Our crew and the VOA has program planned for the year along. Throughout the way, my vice president of communication, who has just earned her summit, was kind of my partner in crime when starting our council VOA. Lora, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Vincent. And I really appreciate being invited to join you all today. So I've been around scouting pretty much since I was a toddler, when I was a tag along. But I did officially join Venturing and its two sister programs, Scouts BSA and Sea Scouts, in 2019. And at the time, Venturing gave a very unique opportunity to not only be involved in this, I would say, vast world of older youth programs offered by the BSA, but it also gave me that chance to really bring scouting home for me. Those tenets of the Alps model shaped a lot of who I am today, and that's also a large reason why, when Vincent approached me in March of last year, I said yes, because I wanted to ensure that other youth had the same opportunities for growth, leadership, and fun that I did.
Wow, your dedication and passion for scouting is truly commendable. It's very evident that you all have made a significant impact on your council's program. Your journey highlights the importance of leadership, teamwork, and the transformative power that scouting experiences have. Your dedication to starting and growing the VOA reflects a deep understanding of the importance of fostering leadership and power in the empowerment of youth within the scouting movement. Through your efforts, you've created opportunities for venturers to develop essential skills and meaningful relationships to make a positive impact in your communities. Let's dive in. What inspired you to start the Council Venturing Officers Association? Could you explain the role and the purpose of a Council VOA for our listeners who might be less familiar with the aspects of scouting?
After being the Lodge Chief and now Section Chief in the Order of the Arrow, I've seen the impact that council-wide programs can have on the Scouts of New York City. After I saw some information about the Venturing Leadership Award and territory and national level venturing online, mostly through Instagram, I did some research and began to ask questions about what the Venturing Officers Association is. Once I heard a couple stories from some old scouters and even read more, I knew for sure that with some help of my friends in the venturing community and even those who weren't yet venturers, that this was going to be a wonderful experience for everyone.
Exactly. And the purpose of these council VOAs, Venturing Officers Association, is to really provide support and guidance to our local crews and to maintain the council's venturing program. This was especially valuable in New York City because although we are still small, we were even smaller before then. So a lot of our work now is making sure we're communicating with other committees and with our crews to provide better training for venturers and advisors, as well as programs for crews, well, more like supplemental program for crews, and monthly meetings to bring together our youth and our advisors to get feedback, because ultimately that promotes growth at the end of the day.
I couldn't have said that better. This story serves as a reminder of the transformative power of scouting and the venturing program. Whether you're a seasoned venturer or new to the program, anyone could play a role in supporting and strengthening your local venturing community, which is exactly what you did. And the reason why, I was so excited when you guys reached out. Can you recall a memorable success story or achievement that resulted from the CVOA?
So I think that one of my biggest accomplishments and our biggest accomplishment so far is, when we did our CSVEs and we filled out that sheet, I was kind of surprised at what our score was. We were right below level 3. And I think that is ultimately the biggest test, right? It's the rubric that you guys provide to us to gauge what we are doing and what we can improve on. And I think, with the effort that we put in, I'm pretty happy with the score we received.
Yeah. Our council standards of excellence were definitely a highlight, especially recently. But kind of to bring it back to our more humble origins, our first venturing training weekend that we held in September of 2023, I would consider a really great achievement for us. We had 24 youth and adults from what was at the time every crew in New York City. We have since grown, but we're going to touch on that later. They joined us for those rank specific trainings that they needed. And of course, it was a very useful weekend for skill development and knocking out these trainings for venturing and discovery rank. But it was also a really valuable fellowship experience for all of us, really.
Ooh, that sounds like a lot of fun. Next time, maybe we could talk a little bit about that experience and planning that event, because that sounds like a blast. What challenges did you encounter when starting your VOA, and how did you overcome them? Because we all know that this isn't easy, and nothing worth doing ever is.
Mm-hmm. I would say from a logistical standpoint, our biggest problem was numbers. It can be difficult to, run a meeting for all the crews in our council when perhaps there's only 4 crews, not a lot of youth, getting everyone on those meetings. It can kind of feel daunting. So it's trying to bridge that gap. And I'm sure Vincent has more to add on that.
Yeah, the other major challenge was definitely defining the purpose and identity of our VOA, and growing its awareness. The idea of a VOA, it took a little bit for people to get interested in and really understand what the program has to offer. Oftentimes, people have conflicting ideas and even conflicting personalities, so it was a challenge to get people used to the monthly meetings and planning events together. But it's definitely a success to be exiting, the storming phase and entering the norming and performing stages of the VOA.
Could you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so basically, like Laura said, with multiple crews, there's always going to be an idea of, what we want to do, what events we want to run, when we want to do a meeting. And ultimately, it's definitely challenging and it could be frustrating to put it all together, but it's really inspiring and it's well worth it when, you can visualize the effect that you have. And now that we finally have some people are, showing their interest in recruiting for it, it's really exciting.
And
Awesome. Yeah, go for it.
just a small thing to add. It was a bit of a bumpy road for us at first because GNYC hasn't had a strong venturing presence, especially a VOA, well, specifically a VOA, in almost a decade. So we were at first kind of going in the dark a bit, but now as we are yeah, we are entering that norming phase, bringing those ILSC terms into the mix, and things are becoming better for the next generation of officers. And it's really powerful to see because we're making a sustainable program here, not just, a one-off thing for this year and then toodaloo the next.
Yeah, the true
Right.
test is definitely going to be next year. Watching the VOA kind of continue to offer program even better than this year. That's ultimately the biggest challenge I feel in venturing is, continuing to have program that just sustains itself over time.
I see. Sorry, acronyms. GNYC. What does that stand for?
That's Greater New
That's
York Councils.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oops. Well, all the acronyms. I wasn't sure if I was just missing something there. Sorry. How do you involve and encourage adult leaders? Because of course you can't do it alone. In supporting the activities and the initiatives and the events of the Council VOA.
Yeah, so when it came to adults, we actually are very fortunate to have the support of multiple amazing advisors. I'd like to give a shout out to Greg, Joey, Lori, and our staff advisor, who is a former Silver Award, I believe it was called, recipient, as well as Joey. So they're very helpful, both on the professional side and the volunteer side. We also have a lot of passionate crew advisors who supported the initiative, supported me, when I was just bringing up the idea to them. Adult advisors in venturing truly have the best opportunity not only to experience adventure for themselves, but also to enable venturers to accomplish anything that they set their minds to. This type of role really can only be found in venturing where the program is only limited to the imagination of your crew and VOA. And being in venturing for the past few years, I can definitely say that this is true as compared to some other, scouting programs. I think venturing really is the top of youth-led organizations that we have.
Awesome. I like that. Laura, do you have anything to add?
I would say that the fact that it's not a famous quote from our advisor is it's not youth led, it's youth run. And I think that really holds true. And part of that is what kind of drives a lot of our adult volunteers in, even as we were at the training extravaganza or treks, as Vincent mentioned earlier, we were getting adults from Scouts BSA troops who were getting interested in it because it's just as unique for them as it is for us. The youth not only get that interesting new experience where it's very adaptable, it can be whatever you want it to be, but they're getting that too. They're learning and they're growing along with us, and they just have the added benefit of, they get to be the adults in charge. They maybe get to take a sit back that they probably couldn't do beforehand in their troop or in Sea Scouts where they have to be more involved a bit.
Right. That's a good point. And you've experienced all three programs as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. So it's excite. What I'm hearing is it's exciting for you to see adults be excited for this program specifically. Very cool. And it brings me to the next question I had of what strategies have you found effective in promoting? Because if you don't promote, then nobody's going to know about it. And the collaboration and communication among the venture crews within a council, yours specifically.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to communications, that's my forte. It's also my title, but still. And the thing from a communication standpoint, the thing that we found best works to ensure that all of our crews are communicating is just having that shared means of staying in the loop, which for us has taken the form of a Google group that has at least one youth and one adult representative from each crew in it. And we found that through this, they're asking questions, they're sharing adventures their crews are participating in, kind of opening those doors not only between, us as the VOA and other crew, and them, but also between other crews. They share events in their districts, in their Order of the Arrow chapters, and we let them voice these things also during our monthly meetings. And we've seen that this has been working so strong within our world of ventures, our ever expanding world of ventures, that it's actually empowered some of our youth in Manhattan to start their crew. And they're starting strong, I think. Vincent, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, very proud of them for starting their new crew. They were just reporting on our VOA meeting last night, which is very exciting. Additionally, Laura doesn't like to give herself too much credit, but she has been working very hard, using Slack, social media, Instagram. We have pretty solid presence, Facebook as well as, the territory helping us share events and stuff like that.
Awesome. It sounds like you've started a ripple effect of it's not been easy, but getting everybody to communicate with one another has caused people to go, "Ooh, look, I want to do that," which is very exciting. Good job. And I want to compliment your awesome communication and social media. Every time I open my Instagram app, I see stuff from your guys' council. So that's awesome and very exciting. So if someone's watching and they're like, I want to start a CVOA, and this doesn't have to be the entire list of what you went through, but what kind of steps should they consider and initial steps would you recommend take as someone who within the last year, because March is just around the corner. Actually, it is March. So it's been a year. What would you recommend to take?
Yeah, so this is actually one of the questions that I was really looking forward to answering. As I watched the other podcasts, listening to others explain how they started their crew, how they started their VOA, I was definitely excited to answer this. So my advice to those who are listening and looking to start a VOA or even a crew is to make sure you understand what you're getting into and what it takes to organize a council VOA as well as a crew. Do your research like I did and kind of ask around, ask some fellow green shirts, those in venturing uniforms, right? That you see, and kind of understand what you're getting into. Really, after you do that, try to recruit a few youth that are interested. Tell your closest friends, like I did, to try and just start to talk about it more and get people aware. Then once the word spreads, it becomes easy to find advisors who want to support you. Advisors, they love to support the initiatives of the youth, especially in this venturing program. So it's really, it's great when you can, get to that point. After that, you really just need to meet with your local crews and, like we did, we held a climbing fellowship event where we held our first election, something to get people interested. Hold your elections, and then just like that, you basically started your VOA.
To build on that, it's good to know what you're getting into. But I would also argue that well, not argue, but also say that when you're looking for these positions and you're looking to fill these positions, or even when you're running for a position, I would say, when you pick when you decide that you're going to start a CVOA in your mind, a Council of Venturing Off Association in your mind, understand that it's not only a title you're going to be holding. It's not just something you get to put on you get a little patch, put on your uniform. Set goals for yourself, because you'll find very quickly that even with a full team around you, you have to get that shared vision going. And that shared vision will give each of you your own task, your own pillar in upholding it. I know for myself, when I came into this, I I helped coin our motto, which is growth, support, and sustainability. That's because we're just starting out. We want to not only grow it, we want to make sure that our council has that support system going. And I know this was shared between myself and Vincent. We want this to last way beyond us. We don't want another
Oh,
decade-long gap. So keep those goals in your mind, keep them strong, because you're really going to need them, and that you have to let them drive you, not only as you start it, but as you move throughout it.
Great advice there. It sounds like you've taken things from trainings like SMART goals and made a specific plan, and it's taken a year for you really to get that plan on the road. You had a mission, you have a vision statement. It was relevant to the need in your council. That's so impressive, taking that SMART goal and then putting it into action. Something that you can definitely put on your resume and will follow you for the rest of your life. So, talking about growth and validity of the venturing program, how did you contribute to that goal and mission statement that you made for yourself? Or did you call it a motto?
Yeah, our little motto. Yeah. So I think I've thrown this term around a bit earlier, but a council VOA, we are constantly serving as that bridge between the local unit and the council. And oftentimes, at least in my experience, I believe there can be a disconnect between those levels of the scouting world, especially so for venturers. There may not be a very big knowledge base on venturing in the council level, or alternatively, crews may not know how to reach out to council for guidance. And that's precisely where we came in. That's where the VOA came in. Because by ensuring everyone has access to the resources to learn about venturing and promote their program, we're ensuring that it can grow and it can be a lively program in the long run. That bridge, it can do amazing things.
Yeah, and kind of to echo what Laura said, the VOA, if done properly, it's there to support and supplement the program for each crew. Not to take away, which is a challenge that we face. Kind of explaining the difference. It should be there really to help support new units like we've seen very recently, recruit at council events, and just teach about the overall program of venturing on a bigger level.
Right, right. And I think that's a great way to put it. Kind of expanding on that, in your experience, how did you balance the autonomy of the youth leaders in the VOA with the guidance and support of our adult leaders?
So this is another one of my favorite questions. In my experience as a scout, from Cub Scout all the way up to now, what I notice is you will see more and more responsibility placed on the youth as you ascend Cub Scouts, Scouts BSA, the Order of the Arrow, and then your venturing program. From what I noticed, advisors in this program have helped me along the way, provided countless amounts of guidance, but most importantly, have never said no or impeded upon the ideas of myself or any of the other venturers involved in my crew or council.
To build on that, especially with what you said about the importance of mentorship. And going back to the famous youth run versus youth led, as the VOA and all ventures, you learn very early on that we're the ones running the show, and the adults, they're there to guide, they're there to make sure we're not doing anything foolish, make sure everything is held to the high standards of safety. But when you're on the VOA, we find that balance between our own independence and our own like youth being all in sync with each other and the support of our adult leaders. Simply by asking for feedback, we're given a lot of trust on a council level, so we have our toes dipped in a lot of water bodies, so to speak. We're given a lot of trust. And we found that the best way to balance it out is just by constantly asking for feedback. And we also have that trust in our adult leaders, to kind of flip it on them. We have that trust that if we're doing something grossly out of bounds, or perhaps if we're missing some steps along the way, we know they're going to, kind of tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, let's think about this a bit more. A lot of this is trust and understanding that the program will ultimately guide us on the right track as long as we have that open line of communication also with our adult leaders.
Wow. I'm getting goosebumps, guys. That perspective is so cool. It serves as a reminder that feedback is a gift, and the support of adult leaders can have. My tongue got all twisted there. Let me try that again. Adult leaders can have a personal and leadership development impact on what we're doing, as long as we lead the way. As you navigate your own journey of scouting, whether it's a youth leader or adult advisor, remember the importance of striking a balance and always prioritize empowerment and growth as you serve. Are there any specific resources or tools that you found particularly helpful in the process of developing and sustaining a council VOA?
Definitely the venturing website and the resources on there are helpful in defining what the VOA is. There's documents. I know my territory loves to share this with us, how to start a crew, how to start a VOA. Gathering resources on the Venturing Leadership Award and upcoming events and deadlines is also very helpful. The National Venturing Instagram was, like I said, the reason why I kind of learned about the Council VOA and what it is. And like I said, attending territory meetings is also very helpful.
Awesome. And I promise I didn't put him up to say that. He decided that on his own volition. Awesome. I'm so glad that it's making an impact in your council. That's really cool. Can you speak on the impact that now you have a strong VOA can have on the personal development of members at the unit level, like the crew level?
Definitely. The VOA is very largely youth run or youth led. Got to correct myself. And it truly allows youth to develop and grow as leaders and also as individuals by defining your own future through the program and events, learning responsibilities, project management, as well as time management, both through the trainings associated with the ranks in venturing and real-world experience you get from putting this into practice, organizing events, and conducting meetings. This is truly, the best part of the venturing program and something that each of you can take out of it.
Exactly. And to add on to that, not only as VOA officers are we putting all the things we've learned along the way through the rank-specific trainings to true work, we're also ensuring that, the future members of the VOA, or just all venturing youth currently in New York City, that they have opportunities to perhaps move a little bit beyond what their crew might do. When we provide new opportunities and we put in the work to provide new opportunities for our crews and our venturers, we're ensuring that they have new ways to grow. They have new ways to go beyond their usual limits and bounds that either they're setting for themselves or that their crews have kind of established. And I think that can be very powerful as we move forward.
Yes, definitely. Someone once told me that you're doing a good job when you're training your replacement. When you can leave and the program just goes on the same, or with the new ideas, but it continues going, like you guys have talked about. You're empowering future leaders. And I was also wondering what advice you have for venturers or advisors who might be hesitant or kind of unsure about starting a council VOA in their area.
This is definitely an important message that, I want to get across to any leaders that may be watching. While venturing is youth run, it is still not possible without the support of amazing leaders. There are some concerns that leaders often tell me which makes them hesitant. The main ones I hear are not wanting to be responsible because they're too busy and don't have the time for venturing. Having other responsibilities in scouting, like being a troop leader, or just not knowing what the program is all about. And my advice to them is, venturing is not the most demanding program from the adult's perspective. You may not even have a meeting every week. Adults serve to guide the youth and not spend hours planning and organize their program, for them. The other thing is, the unique thing about venturing is you can associate a crew with your unit, even using the same number and the same meeting night. This helps the youth to support their troops as well as have their own crews. And also, the venturing program is really what you make of it. Try to get in touch with your council, VOA, and territory to ask questions, but aside from the traditional scouting rules and guidelines, a venture crew program is up to the imagination of its venturers.
It's a great way to put it. Do you have anything to add, Laura?
I mean, I would say to add on, when it comes to starting a council VOA, if you know that you have a venturing presence, whether it's already a really strong one. I know I've learned a lot from like National Capital Area Council venturing. If you have a strong presence like that, or if you're more like us, we were really a budding program. If you know you have that presence, I would say throw the hesitance out the window, because ultimately, if you started, if you even put in that work like once a month, it's never just an hour a week, but even if you put in that once a month meeting with your potential officers, it's going to make a lot of change, because you know that those youth who do want to do it, they're going to have the enthusiasm and it's going to rub off on you. I've seen our adult leaders get just as excited about us when we first mentioned running a scavenger hunt for our council. So even if you're hesitant now, if you have that audience, whether it's 2 youth who want to try it out or 10 who want to start running for positions, definitely give it a shot. You won't regret it.
There you go. Wow. Are there any specific leadership skills or qualities that you believe are particularly nurtured through participation in a council VOA?
Yes, so there's definitely many skills that you develop in venturing, but most notably for myself, in my experiences, definitely interpersonal skills, communications, marketing, project management, Robert rules, and event planning. Um, these were definitely heightened from starting the VOA. I had a little bit of an introduction to almost all of that through the Order of the Arrow and my troop and other things like that. But, venturing seemed to really refine all of these skills and just, hammer them into practice and make them much better.
I want to emphasize something, and I know I am biased, but with venturing, the way your communication skills improve upon participating in venturing, whether that's on a crew level or a council level, it's amazing. I can remember only a couple of years ago when I first, well, a while ago, first joined venturing, I would be red in the face even talking to someone, one-on-one. And not only throughout venturing have I improved, I would like to argue I'm a little bit more eloquent now, but now when you're speaking to adults, you're speaking not only to fellow venturers, now you're speaking to maybe an executive board for your council. Maybe now you have to learn how to communicate in a completely new way to people who don't know what venturing is. And that just forces you to think in a new way. And it really expands your communication skills like never before. And like working on a council level will 100% do that. So communication skills, definitely give it a shot.
It sounds like you've had a lot of practice with your elevator speeches and the little 30-second, here's what venturing is, and I'm so excited about it kind of thing. We've touched on it a lot this episode, but I want to go more in detail. How do you see the future of your council VOA evolving, and what opportunities do you see with a youth-led organization? My tongue again. Youth-led organization. I need to slow down and pronunciate my words.
Yeah, so with the next set of VOA officers and the next year of program, this is the opportunity to create a defined calendar, grow local units, and make venturing well known to everyone like it used to be in our council. I would love to see our VOA interact and collaborate with local councils and as well as our territory, especially since we are in the process of redefining them, and hopefully participate in national events like Winterfest.
Fun fact, Winterfest is a event that is hosted by a council. So maybe you will have an event similar. It's not a national event. Just in case you were wondering. I mean, it's a lot of fun still. And councils can have so awesome events. And it sounds like you guys are on the track to have an event similar. Can you share a few lessons learned or insights gained from your experiences in working with council VOAs and the council VOA as a whole? Maybe Laura can start with this response.
I would say one of the biggest lessons that at least I've had working on with the council VOA is that you have to be adaptable because you're representing, not only you're representing, venturing as a whole when you go out to other crews and maybe troops or, like I mentioned earlier, those executive board meetings. But you also have to understand that when you're working either on a very small scale or large scale, everyone's going to have conflicting schedules. Everyone's understanding or place in their either personal growth journey or venturing journey is going to be different. So learning how to either adapt with the perspective or adapt with the knowledge level has been very valuable because everyone's going to be different. And I think it's probably one of the most important things. We've had a lot of ups and downs. We've talked about it earlier, like getting everyone in sync with each other. We're only just now, entering that norming phase. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just how long it took us. We've had to adapt a few times to make sure we were all in sync. And not only is getting there valuable, but also the patience that you get from that, becoming adaptable is also valuable.
Definitely. Vincent?
Yeah, so my message to our future leaders who are listening is don't discount the impact that you can have on people when you start to put your time and energy into something that you're passionate about. Starting a crew, starting a council VOA, it is not an easy feat, and it's not something that can be done, alone. However, if you think you have what it takes and you're passionate about scouting and what the benefits of scouting are to your community and council, then I really recommend you do it. But remember that you're not alone. Don't be afraid to reach out to your council and territory venturing leaders, or even your district executive or council professional staff for help.
Great message. I really love it. Is there anything in conclusion that you want to share?
Well, I think that out of all the things said, the most important thing to remember is, hopefully you're inspired to, take that first step. After meeting some people along the way, through events, through venturing, I definitely can see that this is a program that people are very excited about. And there's just not a lot of, awareness of it in certain places. And I definitely enjoy wearing my venturing shirt to certain events and kind of spreading the awareness. So, once again, don't be afraid to learn more about venturing and take that first step into becoming a venturer.
To add on, final notes, venturing, it's all about personal growth and, supporting the growth of others as well. As you move forward in your own venturing journey or in your council VOA journey, it's going to open a lot of doors for you, not only on the resume side of things, but also it's going to open doors for how you interact with people. You're going to meet really great people. So if you're a council VOA that's maybe trying to get off on the right foot right now, stick with it. You won't regret it. Even if it might seem a little bit small or daunting now, it'll all really work out in the end. You'll be in that performing stage in no time.
Thank you guys so much. Keep being walking billboards for venturing, because you guys are making an awesome impact from telling us and at the local level at your council. In conclusion, the journey of starting and sustaining a Council Venturing Officers Association is a testament to the dedication, passion, and collaborative spirit of its members. Vincent and Lora, through their experiences, have illuminated a path for those eager to. The spark has happened within venturers to build a thriving VOA in their council. Their insight reveals the transformative power of venturing, not just in the program, but as a platform for personal growth and leadership and community impact, from overcoming challenges to celebrating successes. Vincent and Lora exemplify the spirit and innovation essential to the Scouting movement. And as we reflect upon their journey, we are reminded of the profound impact that a youth-led program can have in shaping the future of Scouting. Through collaboration, communication, and a shared commitment, only enrich the lives of its members, but also strengthen the fabric of the Scouting community. To all those who aspire to foster leadership among ventures in their councils, let Vincent and Lora's story serve as an inspiration. Embrace the challenges, cherish the victories, and above all, remember that the journey is made richer by the camaraderie. Yeah, you guys know what I mean. Like building everything together and as we pursue those SMART goals that we talked about earlier. With that venturing fun fact that we said at the beginning, what is one activity that venturers can do that none of the other programs in Scouting allow? 2 more seconds. Okay, the grand reveal. Hunting. Did you know that? Maybe not. But either way, thank you for joining us for this episode of Leading Our Adventure. Until next time, keep the flame of leadership burning bright, and may the adventures of venturing be as rewarding as they are memorable. I will see all of y'all on the next episode. Bye, guys!